Kimberly? It can't be. It's only been a week. It is I. It is I. I am here, not bringing you the case I told you guys about in the last episode. Actually fell down a rabbit hole trying to get it put together. But I will let you know, it is the case of Mansa Mohammed. He is a man who in Paris, California, held 3 women captive and 19 children. He tortured and abused them, and he is serving life. I am trying to make sure that I wrap up everything because this case is all over the place. And once I had said that, I was waiting on a reply from one of the victims, the daughter has stopped communicating. So I'm assuming she just kind of over it and wants no parts of it, which I respect wholeheartedly. So I will be completing it. But right now I am stuck with trying to find one of the women, because he practiced polygamy, so there were 3 wives. One of them, it's like she worked for the CIA. I can't find nothing, and it's bothering me. So I'm like, no. I need to know where you at, where you been, what you do, and all of that, so that you guys know, because I hate to watch a case and I'm like, I got questions, especially a case that's already went through the courts and everything. So I'm still working on that. I shall get you guys that information and then bring that case to you. It'll be pretty lengthy because, once again, there are a lot of people involved. But today I'm coming to you with 3 people on, well, actually it's more than 3 people. There's several people on death row right now. And since April, there have been several people who have been given reprieves or stays and an execution didn't happen. And I was having a debate with a friend, and all of you who know me know I am not the one for prolonged stays on death row. If you did it, you did it. If you didn't, you didn't. But if we know you did it, you confessed, you were caught red-handed, there's an abundance of evidence, then you need to die. I'm all an eye for an eye. Now, I do know that there are people who confess and they didn't do it. They were intimidated, whatever the case may be. These are not the people I'm talking about. I know that there are people who evidence have been planted and all of the cases all the way shaky and all kind of stuff. These are not the people I'm talking about. I am talking about those who we know. The Dahmers, the all of those people. It's just those people. And so that's what I'm talking about. And though they don't have these big names in these series and all this stuff, there are a lot of them out there. And there are a couple on this list that should have died between now, well, April and now. So, or at least, to the end of May. And so I wanted to bring you that, along with, I was having a debate with a friend. That's how it started, on two particular cases. One, he is actually scheduled to die on May 19th. And another, he was scheduled in, I believe he was scheduled in April. And I'm glad that he is still with us right now, because I'm not 100% sure about that. So let's get into these really quick. I'm hoping this is not going to be a too long of a video, but I do have believe there's 8 people, but let's see. There we have in April 8th in Tennessee, Byron Black. He was given a stay. I personally believe that he should be dead, under dead. Like, he should have been dead twice. He was convicted of a triple murder of Angela Clay, who was 29, and her 2 daughters. One was 9 and one was 6. Basically, he killed them because she didn't want him. She was married. She had a whole husband. They separated, had some issues. She started dating him. The husband came back. He wanted to reconcile. Byron shoots him. Byron is at the house. He's at the house. Clay, his name is Beanie Clay. He doesn't want to deal with the drama. He goes to his car to leave. Byron wants all the smoke. Byron starts shooting at him. Beanie couldn't even get in his car. He took off running down the street. Byron followed, shooting him. He was shot several times. He fell. Byron stands over him to execute him. Doesn't, because Angela runs up, grabs him, you know, probably cusses him out and tells him, what are you doing? And yada, yada, yada. Who knows? But she takes her husband to the hospital, where he stays for 7 days, tending to all these wounds. He does live. And a few weeks later, a neighbor hears Byron beating on Angela's door, telling her, if I can't have you, nobody will. And he's beating and beating and beating. She doesn't let him in. A week prior to her death, I'm sorry, not a week prior to her death, a couple of days before her death, he's heard arguing with her outside of her house. So they're like arguing back and forth and, you know, all this stuff. And then he goes away. Now, mind you, he was arrested and got a home work sentence. So he's to work, and I'm assuming it's like some type of halfway workplace house. I don't know. Well, he got that. That was his sentence for shooting. So to me, that was his sentence for attempted murder in Tennessee. And I'm like, okay, that's all you get in Tennessee, but okay. But this is 1988. Who knows? I don't know if it's the same now, but so he goes there for that crime that he committed, that he clearly knew, right from wrong, or at least nobody came up talking about he's slow, he's special, he doesn't have the mental capacity, or he doesn't know right from wrong. Nobody came up talking about that when he got that sentence. But now that he has decided on sometime during the weekend of March 25th through the 27th to take the life of Angela and her 2 daughters. He goes, you know, he kills them. They're shot dead. Goes back to his little workplace, because I forgot to mention, this workplace gives you a furlough. Like you can be released on the weekends to go live your best life. Like you don't have to stay there Monday through Sunday. No. Monday through Friday. And so the police, they, of course, you know, these people they're deceased. The police go to his little workforce because they're like, okay, your girlfriend, she was found dead in her apartment. The first detective testifies to that he was visibly shaken. He started crying. He was shocked. 2.5 seconds later, he turned into a whole nother person. Tears were gone. He was stone faced, like that just didn't happen. And but this time 2 other detectives walked in. So I don't know if maybe he thought, oh, okay, 1 came, they come to tell you. 3 come, they come in to excuse you. I don't know. Maybe that's it. But anyway, he tells them that, you know, he wasn't there. He hadn't been over there, and gave them a rundown of things that he supposedly had done that weekend. You know, pretty much like his alibi, which was his mom and some other family members. And when the detectives punched holes in those alibis, he then was taken in and he gave 2 other stories. One story was that, well, I picked her up and I dropped her off at her mother's house, and then I didn't see her no more after that. So pretty much like putting himself over there, but not putting himself over there. But they say she had a car, so he said he picked her up from work. So I'm understanding, like, I don't understand, where was the car? So then he gave another story saying that he picked her up, from work. The first one was he picked her up from work, took her to her mother's house. The second story was he picked her and her daughters up. He doesn't say where he picked her up from. He just said he picked them up, took them to the mother's house. Then he left. He came back to her house, I think, thinking she's going to show up. No car there. She wasn't there. He left. He came back and her car was there. So he goes to the door. The door was open. He walks in. He sees 3 bodies in their beds, covered up and dead. The detective says, did you touch him? He says, no, I didn't touch him. So how you know if they were sleeping or dead? Like, did you holler out their name? Did you do any of that? Any of the things? He didn't do none of the things. But he did say that he saw 2 phones. So I'm assuming like maybe a phone from a kitchen and a phone from a bedroom in the hallway, like broken up, and they had blood smears on them. And come to find out, they had blood fingerprints that were in blood on the phones that were his fingerprints. But he said he didn't touch them because he didn't want to be a part of it, and he left, and he didn't call anybody because he didn't want to get involved. Yeah, that's probably not going to work out in your best interest. But they did say that he was very, very cooperative, and he turned over the gun that he said was the gun he used to shoot the husband back then, which was a .357. Well, the husband still had bullets in him, and one of them he got removed. I think it was in his collarbone, and it was a .44. The weapon used to kill the mother and the 2 daughters, was a .44. Ballistics will come back to those bullets and the bullet that was in the father to be from the same weapon, which was his weapon. And pretty much that's just a wrap. Like, yes, it is circumstantial evidence, but it's a whole lot of it. And so, you know, he goes to trial. He gets a death date. And now he's, you know, saying that he didn't do it. He's sticking to he didn't do it. And during sentencing, testimony from former teachers, friends, his mother, an ex-wife, siblings, everybody said he was a very good student, very good person. He was law-abiding. He was very polite, responsible, friendly, helpful. He was all of the things. All of the things but a murderer in their minds. A psychologist over at the sheriff's department, they testified that he was a model inmate. Now, he has his attorney saying that he is not mentally competent to be on death row, that he wasn't able to assist in his trial because he didn't understand the jury or the judge and all the things that they're supposed to do to put him away for the murders that he committed. So since he couldn't assist in his defense, he's getting another evaluation. Ask him, did he know right from wrong? He knew right from wrong. And if he didn't, he learned it when he shot the husband, he learned it then. So you know, you shoot gun, you get time. But you know what? They might be onto something, because he shot gun. He didn't even actually go to jail or prison. He got some little work thing, but then he didn't die. So you see what I'm saying here? So my thing is that he need to be dead. He did it. He know he did it. And he need to die. But that's neither here nor there, because it's just my opinion. But I do believe that he knew what he did. He understood the process, regardless of how much his attorneys and these psychiatrists want to say he didn't. And even if he didn't understand, I want to know, why does he need to understand when his lawyers are there for that reason? He's not defending himself. They go to school and they do this for a living. You explain to your client what's going on. He knew what was going on. They're trying to say that he is so ignorant and incompetent that he didn't know what the jury and the judge was there for. Yeah, no. So he needed to die. He got to stay. He doesn't have another date as of right now because they're still evaluating his mental capacity. On April 20th in Texas, now you know Texas is good for putting you down. Well, for whatever reason, Ramiro Gonzales, he's still with us today. His execution has been rescheduled till November 17th of this year. Now, he is another case where nothing's funny, but you can't say that he doesn't have the mental, and I don't even think anybody is other than his mother. His mother is actually trying to say, you know, I was drinking when I was pregnant and I did drugs, and, you know, it's a mama trying to get her boy off of death row. I get it. I'm not even mad at her for it. But him, he a character. So he is sitting at a jail, you know, not a prison, at a jail, because he was just convicted for the kidnapping and rape of another lady. And while he's sitting there, he like, this is, you know, the victim that he is on death row for died 2 years prior to this incident that I'm going to tell you about. So she died 2 years. He's now, he made this confession in 2003. So we're in 2003. So in 2000, late 2000, early 2001, he killed Bridget Townsend. Buried her. Her body was found. He did that. He said he did that. He confessed to it in 2003. But do you know when he confessed? He didn't confess because they had him in their view. He didn't confess because he was asked about the case. He confessed because he felt like it. He was sitting in jail waiting for transport to the penitentiary for kidnapping and raping another woman. He asked for the sheriff. Sheriff comes down. He tells the sheriff, I know about Bridget Townsend. Sheriff is like, tell me more. He tells him. The sheriff honestly says he didn't believe him. He didn't know what his end game was, but he didn't really believe him. But he would pass the information on and, you know, whatever. But I guess he gave Ramiro the impression of, you know, I don't care. I'm not for sure what impression he gave him. But whatever the impression was, Ramiro said, I can take you to the body. Sheriff was like, oh, can you now? Okay, let's go. They go. They find her remains. On the way back to the jail, he decides, this was a bad idea. I might actually die for this. So he starts blaming it on the Mexican mafia, her boyfriend at the time, and everybody else. Then once he gets back to the jail, he says, I lied. It was me. I did it. Wrote out a confession and signed it. So we know he can read and write. He has the mental capacity to do that. And he did it. They got the body. He said he did it. It's a done deal. Why he sat on death row for 14 years, I don't know. I don't understand it. This is where I don't understand the things that happen when somebody commits a crime like this. I don't understand. But he was convicted. He will get the death penalty. I don't know why they did not say why his was rescheduled, because we all know Texas don't play, but he was rescheduled to November 3rd of this year. So we'll see what happens then. We have on the 21st of April, Elwood Jones. He got a reprieve because, thank the gods, this is in Ohio, where the governor, they need to figure out a new method to put inmates to death, because he believes that the current lethal injection is needless pain for the inmate. So they're trying to figure that out. But while they're trying to figure that out, you have people on death row. Ohio has many actually, who had dates in April and May. I want to say like 6 of them. They all have been moved. Some have been moved to several years out. Some have been moved to several months out. So I don't know. Maybe they're going to figure out a plan and have a new way come, you know, later this year. But right now, Elwood Jones, he's one of the cases where I say, I'm going to need you not to put him to death because you don't have enough evidence. You don't have enough evidence. You don't have a confession. You don't have a witness. You don't have DNA. You have nothing. You have a pen that may or may not belong to the victim that was found in the inmate's car. And an infection that Elwood had from cutting himself. I don't know if it's staph. I don't know, you know, rusty nail, tetanus. I don't know what it is, but he had an infection. He went to the ER to get it treated. Supposedly, that's what triggered the cops to believe he did it. Mind you, they got a woman was murdered, a 67-year-old was murdered at an Embassy Suites hotel in Blue Ash. Jones worked there. So did so many others. And later, an Earl Reed would confess to killing her and confess to making it so a black man went to jail for it, in so many words. So he didn't say he planted the evidence. He didn't say he did all that, but a black man was he made it to where a black man went to jail for it. That's exactly what happened. He confessed to this. Of course, they're trying to say, you know, it could be a lie, it could be this, it could be that. I don't know too many people that are just volunteering for people they don't know that they committed the crime that person is already doing time for. Or they do that at. So this case is one of the cases I'm like, he should not be put to death. There are too many what ifs, way too many what ifs. And thankfully, he did get a stay. He does have another execution date of December 6, 2003. I'm sorry, 2003. 2023. And hopefully by then, his now attorney can get him a retrial or a resentencing or something. They are working towards that. And, you know, the people, the angels without wings that are fighting for these people to not get put to death, are working diligently. And this is one of the cases where I'm happy to see that somebody is working, because something is just not right. I just feel something's not right. It's just too many what ifs. So that's the case of that. Thank God for the pandemic, because that was another reason why he got pushed. So just a compound of things happening in his favor for this. He has wholeheartedly stated all of the years that he's been locked up that he did not commit this crime. He didn't do any of the things, and he's innocent. So we'll see. I will keep watch on that and report that back to you guys. But now we're off into May, and we are in Pennsylvania, and Paul Gamboa-Taylor, he got a reprieve. He was supposed to die this Friday. He was sentenced to death in 1992, and he's been on death row for 28, 29 years, and in April, he exhausted all of his appeals. Like, it's it. It's a wrap. You have no more. There's nothing we can do. However, the governor in Pennsylvania has a moratorium, and has since 2015, where as long as he's governor, nobody will be put to death. I guess that's where California's governor is taking a page out of his playbook. So this gentleman, he killed his whole family. Well, majority of his family. He killed his wife, his children, his two children, Jasmine and Paul, who were 2 and 4, his mother-in-law, and another child that was 2 years old. And this happened in May 17th of 1991. There was an infant left in the home that he did not harm. Now, he admitted to all of the things. He admitted to it. but he also told authorities that he was drinking and he had freebased some cocaine, and he heard voices in his head that told him to kill his family and then kill himself. Now, you know how you always hear about that, and then the person barely tries to kill themselves, like they don't really try, they just kind of, you know, go through the motions. Well, I have to say, he did try, and I think God was like, nope, not today, because he slit his wrists. He drank different household chemicals. He got in a bath of water and put a plugged-in dryer, hair dryer. He stabbed himself multiple times in the abdomen. He just kept on living. And it's really not, I mean, at one time he said he wanted death, but I'm assuming now, after been sitting on death row for 20 some years, he now changed his mind. He want to live. And his attorneys tried, but he's going to die. Just don't exactly know when, because that governor has a hold on things. And I think a psychiatrist did try to say that he wasn't competent, but another psychiatrist who evaluated him found him to be mentally competent. So there are no more. It's done. It's a wrap. So when they do allow executions again in Pennsylvania, he will be up. But as of right now, he does not have a date. But I do know that there is a law where they have to give him a date, regardless of what the governor is on. So he will be given another date. He just doesn't have one right now. On the 19th in this month, which is what is that, Monday? 14, 15, 16. It's next week. Next week, Quintin Jones, who is in prison in Texas, is to be put to death. He actually hasn't been given a reprieve, hasn't been given a stay, hasn't been given a nothing. He is to die on the 19th as of right now. And there are many people standing up for this gentleman. He was another cause for debate that I was having with a friend, because I'm one of those that I believe that if you commit a crime, you know you did it, you confess, then you should die. I know that there will be family members on both ends. I am all for the family of the victim. In this case, he is the family of the victim. He killed his aunt. I believe his aunt was in her 80s. I do know that she was, everybody says she was a sweet woman. She used to give out money. She made like $500. She got a check for like $500 a month, and she would still loan people money to get, so they can take care of their business, feed their kids, do whatever. She kept a little journal and she used to write it down. Well, she was giving Quintin money for his drug habit. I don't know if she knew it was for his drug habit, but whatever the case may be. And he asked for some more money. She said no, because he already was in debt. So she said no. He didn't like that. He killed her. The family knows he killed her. He knows he killed her. Along with that, he killed 2 other people that he confessed to after waiving his Miranda rights. So he decided, they read him his rights. He said, I'm okay. I'm good. Yeah, I did it. Some say that there's no evidence that he waived his Miranda rights. I do know that you got to sign something waiving your Miranda rights, but I don't know what they do in Texas. But so you have some people saying he didn't sign that, and that he really didn't really kill those other 2 people. And that's neither here nor there, because he didn't go on trial for them. They did bring them up in the sentencing, but at the end of the day, he got sentenced for killing his aunt. The family has since forgiven him, and they don't want him to die. So this makes it very difficult, because generally you have the family saying, kill him, or don't. Like, we don't believe in that. We don't want him to die. But at the end of the day, it's the governor's decision. The governor feels for the family. We understand that, now you have forgiven him, but he still took a life. And in reality, they're still realizing he's actually taken 3 lives. He didn't just take 1. So it makes it a little hard for, you know, somebody to say, you know, he can't do this, he can't do this, he can't do this. Well, he kind of can. So it's up to the governor, and the governor, he ain't said nothing. And I don't think he's going to say anything. Once again, this is Texas. So Greg Abbott has the last word. And as of we know right now, Quintin will be executed on the 19th of May. On the 26th of May in Ohio, David Martin got a stay. The Supreme Court delayed the execution because he actually slipped through the cracks. He was supposed to be, like, you know how they have to do the, they have automatic appeals and all this type of stuff, where he had a public defender, so you got to give him a public defender for death penalties cases or what have you, and somebody dropped the ball. He never got it, that attorney, and COVID happened, all kind of stuff, so they are just pretty much going to delay it and let him have all of the things that he should have, so that nobody can say they executed a man and he didn't even really get a fair trial, even though he already had a trial that was fair. And he shot a young 21-year-old and killed him, and shot his girlfriend who actually lived. So got an eyewitness, you kind of did it, it's a done deal, but they're gonna let him go through the process and you know, do all that. But at the same time, even if they weren't doing all that, the governor, Mike DeWine, he ain't executing nobody. His thing is that the execution process is harmful to the one being executed. So they need to come up with a better way. He just feels that lethal injection is no longer an option. So he's asked lawmakers to identify different methods. They've been waiting on that. And they haven't executed anybody since July 2018. So until they get another method, they're going to be on death row. On the 27th of May in Ohio, Gregory Lott, he got a reprieve. He actually, he's supposed to be executed at 10 a.m. on the 27th of this year. But of course, once again, they don't have a drug. That means that they don't have a method that the governor agrees with. So nobody is actually going to be put down right now there. But he was in jail for the robbery in 1986, July of 1986, for killing an 82-year-old man. He broke into the home to rob him. He tied him up, doused him with heating lamp oil, and set him on fire. The victim lived for 10 days. The victim told authorities that it was a light-skinned black male with long hair. Well, Gregory isn't exactly that. I'm light-skinned, and maybe a few shades below this would be light. But Gregory is actually brown, more of a brown Indian brown. He's more brown. And so he's not light. And he had short hair once they caught him. Now, that doesn't mean he didn't cut his hair, but we still got the light skin. And for all we know, this man thinks that brown is light. I don't know, because I get people who don't know that I'm black just because my skin is so fair. So you never know what the person is thinking in their mind, but they're like, okay, but he has robbed this particular gentleman in the past. This ain't his first rodeo. Like, he been there. He robbed them before. So it's like his fingerprints were there. His shoe prints were there. All the things were there that tie him to this murder. They say that he is a little mentally challenged. Once again, I say, did he know right from wrong? I don't care if he can't recite his ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. I don't care if he wants to play with blocks and Play-Doh. Does he know right from wrong? Because I know 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, and on that know right from wrong. So if he knew it was wrong to rob this man, if he knew it was wrong to tie this man up, if he knew it was wrong to douse him with oil and set him on fire, then he needs to die. Once again, he's not right now. He's not. He's been given prior dates. Like, he had a date in 2002. He had another date. He's had several dates in between now and then and now. But there's just been so much going on and, you know, all this stuff. And he knew enough to waive a jury trial. He said he didn't want a jury trial. He had 3 judges who oversaw his case. And the 3 judges, they unanimously sentenced him to death. We know that he can't die right now, but he's supposed to. And it was said that the grandson of the victim, he opposes the death penalty. So he has written letters and he has said that he doesn't want him to die. But at the end of the day, he's going to die unless the governor says he's not. But there was something else that I saw and I read that said that he was, that the state parole board recommended that his sentence be life in prison without parole instead of the death penalty. I didn't know that they can do that. I mean, like, why would he go up against the parole board if you're already on death row? Like, you're not going to be paroled. It's not in the cards. So why are you seeing? I don't know. If anybody knows, please educate me, because I don't understand it. But it was the board voted 6-2 for mercy, to have him just put on life imprisonment. But I don't know. Once again, I don't know where that comes in, but I do know that he will be given another date. They just don't know when that date's going to be because they're waiting for a different method. There were 2 other people in Ohio, one in April and one in May. Actually, one for this Friday, who he won't be dying this Friday, and the other one was in April. I don't know, April 16th or something like that. That he was supposed to be. Well, the one in April, it was April 16th. He was supposed to be put to death. It was a botched robbery. He attempted to rob some people, and then he ended up killing them, and he received the death penalty. His date has just been moved. He was rescheduled from April 16th of 2021 to September 15th, 2021. I guess they think that they're going to have a solution to the death method by then. I don't know, but 9 times out of 10, if they don't, it's going to be pushed. There's Warren Henness. He kidnapped a lab tech, told him that, he needed some substance abuse counseling and yada, 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 yada. Well, he kidnapped him. He shot him in the head 5 times, and he cut his throat, all for his car, his checkbook, and his credit cards. Henness and his wife and another man spent the days after using all of the victim's money, smoking crack, doing other drugs. 5 days after the lab tech's disappearance, the police found his body. It was abandoned at a water putrefaction place, and he had been gagged. His hands were bound behind his back with a coat hanger. Can you imagine? I can't even bend a coat hanger. But and his ring finger had been severed. He was married, and his wedding ring was missing. Well, Warren Henness had that wedding ring, had said wedding ring. So that's basically, it's a done deal for you. I do believe he has exhausted all of his attempts at getting resentenced and appealing his case. So he will be put to death, but we just don't know when. Oh, actually, we do know when. His has been rescheduled to January 12th, 2022. So next year. And if they haven't come up with a new method, then that date will be changed as well. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I know this is a little bit different, but I'm just trying some things. And, you know, anytime I come across a case or I have a discussion, I figure I've already done all this research and I already know all this. So let me come and give it to you guys. Once again, if you have any case suggestions, please put them in the comments. I have several people who have sent me emails from the podcast, which I have not done in months, but from the cases that are already there, requesting cases. So I do have a few cases. Some of them are not final yet, or they're still looking, or they're just getting started. But I will, as soon as I can get some information, I will bring it to you. And until then, thank you guys. Be safe, be kind, and deuces.